Hello everyone, welcome to this week's tutorial on ProRPA.com. Today, I'm gonna show two very simple concepts that we use in Blue Prism application. We have talked about Process Studio, we have talked about the Object Studio. Today, I'm gonna talk about publishing the objects. So a detailed theoretical explanation for the same has already been provided in the blog post. If you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend you go through it first and then come to this tutorial so that it, can be learned in the most legible fashion. On that note, let's talk about the publishing. So publishing is something that makes a business object accessible to any process. So the process exists within the Process Studio, and process is the one that a person or a user or a developer creates or launches, and these processes are supposed to access these objects, because objects is the one that interact directly with the target application, right? So publish is sort of like, okay, the developer has said that I have validated it, it seems to be working fine, so I'm publishing it now. I'm making it accessible to the process to execute it, right? So I have two very simple business objects in the Object Studio, the pages that I call them, that are available here, which is launch and login. So I'm going to show you how launch works just by showing what is supposed to be the output. So it's launching this application, right? And then if I go to the login and I run this, it's entering the credentials with this, with this value. Enter credentials, sign in, and done. It's signing in here as well, right? So I have these two perfectly working pages within the Object Studio. I call them the business objects, and these objects I'm going to publish. To publish, I simply right click here and choose this publish option. That's it. You see, this colorful icon gets visible to the page, to the name of that page, which is launch in this case. Initially, that was only available to initialize and the cleanup pages, which come predefined, right, whenever you create a business object. So same way, we'll do this for login as well, and see publish, and that icon becomes available right away. Now I'm going to open a process and I'm going to access that these published business objects through that process. So for that we use this action stage, and action stage, let's name it as launch or launch application, right? And business objects we have VJ object 1. Okay, VJ object 1 was not the one, it was trial 1. And then in trial 1, if you may have seen that there was an action 2 also which was published, but we are not concerned with here. So let me show you again. This is the business object, Object Studio trial 1, and in here we have 3 different published pages, action 2, launch, and login. So we are only concerned with launch and login now. So I have launched the application. Now I want to log into the application. So I'm just copying and pasting it. Login application. I choose the login page, and that's it. If you want to provide the value of the parameters, you can. If not, that's totally up to you, because I have added the local values to those variables. So that wouldn't matter much. Okay, let's keep it as is. Now I have a process ready which is going to launch and log into that application that we want to work with. All this is done through the Process Studio, right? So here, start, launch application. It launched the application. To log in, it says it's already connected to an application. Excuse me. I'll tell you why. So I had another stage on that business object that I deleted in the login, but I didn't make changes to it. So let me show you. I'm saving Control S, saving version 0.3 or something. Save changes. Now I'm closing this down. Similarly, for the launch application as well. That's already been closed. Okay, so I'm gonna start it by using the same thing again. Launching the application, login, BP, password, and done. Right? So what happens is, even if you have published, what was published was the last saved version of that business object, right? Which was for the login application. I had some other stages which I removed for this demo purposes. So what I did was I saved a newer version which didn't have those extra stages in the program. It only had like entering the credential and the sign in stage, and that's it, right? So now it's working in concatenation with the launch business object, which I'm triggering through the launch application action stage. I hope that makes sense, right? So publishing the business object makes it accessible to process, and then we use the action stage to trigger that particular business object page from the process. All right, fairly simple concept, but very, very useful because people are much concerned about the processes, and that's what a developer should be as well, right? We have to automate the processes. Processes may contain business objects, may not contain, but all that level of hierarchy we have discussed theoretically before we started off with any practical implementations in our Blue Prism application throughout this whole tutorial series, right? So this is it for this week. Please let me know your thoughts. And apologies, I haven't been able to put up content for a while. It's just that my work, it's way too much these days. So I'm traveling, I'm outside my home location for last 3 weeks. I'm really like homesick right now. And I would probably try my level best to put up content on the weekly basis from now on. Frankly, for the next 2 weeks, it seems a bit difficult since there's a lot on my plate, but I'll try my level best to stay engaged with you guys. Thank you again. Good luck. Happy automating.